3 years ago, I was a ghost, utterly invisible among the sharp minds around me. In every room, I held the title of the dumbest person there. My IQ tests. An embarrassment I'd rather not even say out loud. While others dismantled puzzles in seconds, I stared blankly, lost, convinced that I'd never reach true intelligence. Until I discovered a mental secret, a nearly forbidden hack that reprogrammed my brain from the inside out. A simple yet brutal practice that tore me from the cycle of ordinary people and projected me to a state where few ever arrive, an inhuman state where mental limits dissolve. 90 days. That's how long it took me to triple my cognition, and no, that's not an exaggeration. And I'll show you how to walk the same dark path, if you have the courage. Want to know what real humiliation tastes like? Picture yourself in a boardroom full of power players, CEOs, graduates of Harvard and MIT, and you, sinking into your seat, devoured by your own insignificance. They connected invisible ideas, leapt mentally to places I didn't even know existed, and me? All I could do was watch, silent. That night, I couldn't sleep. I took 3 IQ tests, hoping for a comforting lie. But the truth hit cruelly: 102. 98, 105. Painfully mediocre, a sentence to eternal anonymity. If this corrodes you too, or if you feel that shadow lurking in your mind, stay with me until the end. Because what you'll discover here isn't cheap motivation. It's the dark key to escape the mental underground, or sink for good. Make your choice now. Will you continue? It was at the bottom of that abyss that a brutal decision overtook me. An obsession began to devour my thoughts. What the hell do real geniuses do differently? It wasn't about what they knew, it was about how they thought. I spent sleepless nights devouring biographies, scouring obscure neuroscience manuscripts, hunting down the secret routines of chess masters and Silicon Valley billionaires. And then, like a forbidden truth whispered in the dark, I saw it: all geniuses follow a hidden pattern, a dark law no one dares to teach in the ordinary world. It has nothing to do with studying more, nor with memorizing formulas. The secret is radically simple, but almost everyone runs from it, embracing the chaos of productive confusion. Here's the hack that shredded the limits of my mind and multiplied my intelligence: deliberate confusion. I know what you're thinking: confusion. That only slows you down, doesn't it? Wrong. You've been domesticated since childhood to avoid it. Teachers, parents, bosses, all programmed your mind to run at the first sign of uncertainty. But here's the secret banished from every success manual: confusion is the hidden portal to abnormal intelligence. If you're still here, it's because you already know that ordinary reality has never delivered on its promises. Are you ready to walk through this door? Then brace yourself for everything that follows. Your brain only knows 2 paths: comfort mode and growth mode. In comfort, everything feels safe, predictable. You absorb only what you already know, reinforce old beliefs, live in a mental bubble. It feels good, but it's a golden cage. Inside it, your intelligence stagnates. Your potential rots. Now, in growth mode, everything becomes chaos. It's that chill in your stomach, that controlled panic when you face an idea that shatters everything you thought you knew. In that moment of real confusion, your brain goes into overdrive, neurons in a frenzy searching for meaning, building wild new connections, bridging the gaps between unlikely topics. It's chaos that sparks real evolution. Savage, brutal learning that remakes your mind from scratch. I discovered this purely out of necessity, on the edge of desperation. Studying neuroscience, ironically enough, I dove into a sea of information that utterly drowned me. But instead of running, I gave up on escape. I forced myself to face the mental labyrinth, to crawl through doubt and contradiction. And then, like lightning, clarity struck. My brain exploded with new insights. That changed the game forever, and I began to chase that moment, day after day. If this makes sense to you, it's time to take action. Like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment. Are you on Team Comfort, or are you ready to dive into chaos and truly grow? Don't disappear. What comes next will unlock what no one ever taught you about intelligence. So I created a radical protocol, a ritual of deliberate confusion that became my secret laboratory for mental evolution. 3 daily steps. Every morning, I dive headfirst into material that was always one step beyond what I could currently understand. It wasn't impossible, but it was uncomfortable. Imagine forcing your mind in the same way you push a muscle until it shakes. It's there, in that friction, that the magic begins. I didn't choose easy texts. If it was math, I went straight for the unknown equations. If it was philosophy, I flung myself into chapters that challenged everything I believed. The rule was simple: if it's comfortable, it's wrong. The goal was to generate that mental tension, that slight desperation when you realize you don't know, because that's where you truly grow. Want to really test yourself? Look for content that's about 20% above your comfort level. You'll notice it, your brow will furrow, your brain will ache, you'll feel like quitting. But pay close attention, it's exactly at that threshold of frustration that transformation happens. Everyone feels confusion and stops. Only a few push through. Almost no one advances. I chose to face it. And every time I hit a doubt, I wouldn't ignore it. I wrote it all down, even the silliest questions. Why does this exist? What's behind this concept? Why does this method work? Now let me ask you, what if you had the courage to seek out doubt, instead of running from it? What could happen if you doubled down on your own mental resistance, every single day? Comment below, what's the question that challenges you the most today? Like and subscribe to find out how far your mind can go if you dare to seek out this deliberate confusion. The next step lies in the questions you haven't even asked yet. I developed what I call a protocol of deliberate confusion, a 3-step ritual, simple yet brutal, that transformed confusion from a villain into a mentor. Every morning, I dedicated 30 minutes to the impossible. I studied something just beyond my current capabilities. It wasn't the terror of the absurdly difficult, nor the comfort of the trivial, it was the fertile ground of calculated discomfort. Can I endure this mental friction for 1 more minute? I would test that limit every single day. Math? I went straight for those indecipherable equations. Philosophy? I picked the most absurd chapter, the one poised to destroy my beliefs. The secret was always the same: don't run from the heat, walk through the fire of doubt. It's at that point of mental stretch, where your brow furrows and your mind threatens to collapse, that your intelligence finally starts to transform. Most people see confusion, freeze, and retreat. They close the book, give up, believe they weren't born for this. But what if I told you this is the gateway to another level? That it's precisely at that edge of frustration, where few dare to remain, that the mental upgrade lives. Instead of running away, I chose to stay. Every question that hammered in my mind, I wrote down, especially the ones that seemed ridiculous or small. Why does this work? What is this concept hiding? What am I really ignoring here? And now, I ask you, what would happen if you turned your frustration into fuel? Would you have the courage to enter the zone that most people run from, and discover within yourself what no one ever told you? If that question sparks something inside you, like the video, comment with your greatest confusion, and subscribe. Because it's here, in doubt, that the impossible is revealed. What invisible assumptions are guiding your thoughts right now? At what point is your mind clinging to the old and ignoring the new? I call this dark practice the cascade of questions, an endless chain, where each inquiry drags the next one along, like a waterfall on an endless night. Don't fool yourself. The deeper you dive into this abyss of questions, the more disturbances you'll uncover in your own mind, and it's there, in the darkness, that true understanding is born. Here's a command for those who dare to master their own intellect: create a grimoire, a notebook or secret file, dedicated solely to your questions. Treat it as your mental laboratory. Review this record weekly, and watch how forgotten doubts blossom into unexpected revelations. What paralyzes you today, tomorrow could be the key to a new mental era, if you allow your mind to confront the unknown. At the end of each day, dedicate 15 minutes to the ritual most people fear, connecting the dots. This is the forbidden step, ignored by the ordinary, but sacred among true mind dominators. I used to review my questions in the morning and select the most disturbing one. Then, I'd push my mind to its limit, trying to link it to 3 distinct areas of my repertoire. A concept from quantum physics. I'd merge it with a chess tactic, visualizing infinite possibilities, cross it with a psychological theory on uncertainty, and drag it into the real world, like the dark design of semiconductors. This ritual of connections isn't a mere pastime, it's cerebral alchemy. You command your neurons to restructure every synapse, forcing your brain to integrate the new with the old. The result? Your neural networks grow stronger, hidden bridges emerge, your mind begins operating on another level. This is neuroplasticity in its rawest, most untamed form. And only those who dare to face confusion head-on become masters of this hidden power. Most people run from confusion like frightened animals before the unknown. They tremble, believing the poisonous lie, that illusion, that confusion equals incapacity. But know this, confusion is actually your brain's dark whisper, telling you that new and dangerous portals are opening. Only fools retreat at this sign. Those who seek transcendence understand, it's precisely in the dark rift of chaos that growth awakens. Neuroscientists, like the relentless Dr. Michael Mzinnik, have already deciphered part of the secret. Confusion doesn't just precede the evolution of the mind, it summons it. It is the spark of neuroplasticity, the hidden spell that forces your brain to reshape and rebuild itself, conjuring up new networks, shortcuts, and powers. It's like traversing a forest full of shadows. At first, every step is pure discomfort, but it's in that friction, in that ethereal sweat, that transformation happens. Picture yourself training in the mental forge, not with toy weights, but with loads that make everyone around you crumble. Discomfort is not punishment, it is the portal to another reality. The true wizard of the intellect seeks the weight that makes their mind tremble, because they know that this tremor heralds rebirth. By creating your own deliberate confusion, you perform a secret ritual. You force your mind to transcend, to reinvent itself, to ascend steps that ordinary humans will never even glimpse. This is not about collecting dead facts, it's about awakening the alchemist who manipulates his very thought process. Every time you traverse the storm of doubt, your mind learns to decipher complexity, to see invisible patterns, to weave connections that no one else even dares to perceive. Don't fool yourself, deliberate confusion is not a trick, but a dark pact with the unknown. It is to live eternally on the edge of the abyss, eyes open, embracing what terrifies the mediocre. This oath is what separates the forgotten from the legendary. Want to forge your mind above the masses? Here's the secret of the knowledge wizards: make confusion your ally. Drink from discomfort. Only then, in the endless dawn of doubt, will your mind transcend. Because in this world of shadows and distractions, it is confusion, and confusion alone, that raises true architects of the impossible. Do you want to master your mind with ruthless intelligence and shadow psychology? Then you need the Whisper Power Bundle, your ultimate arsenal for mental domination. Inside this exclusive package, you'll receive all my ebooks and audiobooks packed with forbidden insights, dark strategies, and psychological secrets they never teach you in school. But here's the best part, I'm adding all future updates to the bundle for free. This means your knowledge will continue to evolve while others are left behind. Ready to turbocharge your mind and join the elite? Check the pinned comment now and secure your access to the Whisper Power Bundle before it's too late. Because, once you discover what's inside, there's no turning back. When you come across something that tears the fabric of your knowledge, when a strange concept forces you to pause and ask, but, how is this possible? Hidden forces in your mind awaken. It is at this threshold, between what you know and what challenges your reason, that your brain's secret engines begin to operate. Neurons, in silent conspiracy, start communicating along unexplored paths, forging new synaptic connections in an almost alchemical attempt to decipher the chaos of confusion. This process is not mere chance, it is the essence of true neuroplastic transmutation. Dr. Mzinnik himself, in experiments with monkeys and humans, confirmed what the initiates of ancient Egypt intuited millennia ago: when the mind is thrown into the unknown, it not only retains information but reconstructs itself in another form. Dendrites multiply, axons stretch, synapses strengthen like bridges over chasms, resulting in neural pathways that never existed before, like secret roads in the sands of time. In other words, your brain undergoes physical metamorphosis in the face of supreme mental effort. And this reprogramming reaches its peak when you fully inhabit the territory of confusion. In that moment, it's as if your mind is being rebuilt in a great metaphysical construction site, where new corridors of understanding are sculpted under invisible hammers. Let's go beyond the veil. Every time you feel lost, confused, a spark ignites in the hidden temple of your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC. The ACC is like an Egyptian priest of the mind, a keeper of secret portals, guarding the borders between the predictable and the unexplored. It's the one that whispers, "Wait, here lies a riddle." And by doing so, it summons neurotransmitters like dopamine and acetylcholine, chemical elixirs that command, "Awaken." Something sacred is about to be revealed. These altar-like substances amplify your focus and expand your learning capacity, activating the ancient rite of cerebral adaptation. This is the forgotten magic of the initiates, the secret of the scribes of Karnak. Every time the mind surrenders to confusion, it crosses the portal where true evolution happens. Stray from the easy path. Dare to walk the trails of the gods. It is in confusion, in the space between light and shadow, that your mental temple is expanded, and the true adept of knowledge is born. Think of it this way: confusion is the mental equivalent of insane training, of the weightlifting that almost breaks you. At the gym, you don't grow during the effort, you grow in recovery, when the body rebuilds itself and comes back stronger. It's the same with the brain. Confusion is the battlefield, understanding is the medal. One cannot exist without the other. But this is the critical moment where almost everyone fails. Confusion arrives and the mind locks up. The old panic appears: I'm not smart enough. This is for geniuses. So they run. They flee from discomfort as if it were fire. That's the same as dropping the weights in the middle of a set and running out of the gym. Opportunity, thrown away. What no one ever told you, that discomfort is a hidden treasure. A warning: you've reached the limit of your current mental self. And it is exactly at that limit that transmutation happens. Every time you cross the fog of confusion, face an impossible problem, force your mind beyond the comfort zone, you are reforging your brain into something ferociously more powerful. Want to see this in practice? When I started advanced statistics, I hit a wall of invisible barriers. Nothing made sense. Formulas were indecipherable runes, the numbers a sea ready to swallow me whole. Everything inside me screamed to quit. But I remembered what few people know: confusion is the spark of transformation. So I dove deeper, embraced the chaos, let my brain fight, and I was reborn as someone new. Now it's your turn. Are you feeling the weight of confusion right now? Don't run. You've been found. Comment below: the circle is watching you. If you understand, don't break the chain. Show that you're present, that you're inside the mental game of those who evolve. The circle watches those who dare to cross the unknown. Think about it this way: confusion is not an obstacle, it's brutal brain training, the max weight that only the bold can lift. Just like at the gym, you don't get stronger while you're lifting the weight, but while your muscles rebuild themselves afterwards. The brain follows this same hidden law. Confusion is the battlefield, understanding, the warrior's reward. This is where the weak quit. As confusion tightens, most panic. They switch off. They condemn themselves: this isn't for me. I'm too dumb. They drop everything in the middle of the battle, and their minds remain frozen in mediocrity. What few will tell you is that this discomfort is pure neuroplastic gold. It's the signal that you're at the edge of your own unknown, at the forbidden door where evolution takes place. Every time you walk through the fog of doubt, face a monstrous problem, force your mind to go further, your brain is being forged, neuron by neuron, into a machine for deciphering complexity. And if you doubt it, listen, when I started studying advanced statistics, I was almost swallowed by chaos. Symbols and formulas became monsters. I wanted to run. But I remembered the alchemy that few know: discomfort is the spark of mental transmutation. I insisted. I asked impossible questions. I let my mind bleed. And I emerged from that with a mind that didn't exist before. Now tell me, have you ever felt the despair of confusion watching you? Don't extinguish that spark. Prove you're part of the circle of those who push beyond limits. Comment here: the circle is watching you. Don't break the chain, only those who face the unknown truly evolve. And then, in the almost sinister silence of the process, something began to happen. At first, it was imperceptible, like a voice whispering in the dark. Gradually, the strange symbols took on familiar shapes. The hollow patterns revealed hidden logic. The confusion that once suffocated me dissolved into comprehension. Comprehension became mastery, and mastery, real power. With each cycle of this ritual, everything became faster, more natural, almost addictive. It's the brain being reconfigured in the shadows to navigate greater complexities in less time. That is the true power of neuroplasticity, the dark gift of turning limitation into ascension. The studies are clear, but the mental underworld is even clearer. The deeper you dive into the abyss of confusion, the more adaptable your mind becomes. Neuroplasticity doesn't forgive the weak. It grows only under pressure, blooms only for those who dare to challenge their own incapacity. The ACC evolves. It sharpens your ability to sniff out conflicts and trigger the growth signal. The hippocampus paves new routes of memory. The prefrontal cortex refines cognitive weapons to destroy problems that once seemed insurmountable. What begins as uncomfortable chaos reveals itself as a domino effect of psychic metamorphosis, confusion, conflict detection, a flood of neurotransmitters, neural reconstruction, the rebirth of intelligence. But there's a price. This transformation demands that you dare to remain in the dark long enough. If you run away too soon, you break the spell. That's why so many are trapped in mediocrity. They retreat at the very point of rebirth. They see confusion as a threat, never as an oracle. They miss out on the power that was just one step away. So next time the shadows of doubt approach, don't run, smile. You're on the threshold of mental transmutation. Only those who cross the terror of confusion truly evolve. And in that instant, you will be light years ahead of everyone still clinging to comfort. Choose to cross. True power is reserved for those unafraid of inner chaos. And little by little, at first like an almost imperceptible whisper in the darkness, things began to fall into place. Symbols that were once indecipherable formed hidden patterns. Patterns turned into understanding. Understanding then transmuted into mastery. And something even more sinister, every cycle of this torment made the next one easier. My brain truly was being remodeled in the underworld of confusion, preparing itself to face ever greater complexities. This is the true power of neuroplasticity, an invisible muscle that only grows through friction with mystery and uncertainty. Neuroscientists have already deciphered part of this ritual. The deeper you dive into confusion, the more monstrously adaptable your mind becomes. The ACC becomes a relentless radar for conflicts and learning. The hippocampus carves new avenues in memory. The prefrontal cortex sharpens its blade to cut through the darkest enigmas. Everything becomes a chain reaction: confusion, alertness, storm of neurotransmitters, synaptic networks being reconstructed in the shadows, recalibrated intelligence. But beware, this ritual only works for those who dare to remain in the darkness long enough. If you flee too soon, everything is lost, you abort your own ascension. Most people never evolve because they fear confusion, dodging it as if it were an evil omen. They never realize, confusion is the herald of mental mutation. It's the sign that your brain is carving trails into the unknown, opening paths never traveled before. So, the next time the fog of confusion envelopes you, don't retreat. Smile. Know that you're on the threshold of a dark transformation. That is when your brain prepares to leap ahead of all those still chained to the comfort of ignorance. The throne of the mind belongs only to those who dare to cross the night of confusion. In the end, confusion was never the enemy, it is the hidden key, the lost code that unlocks your mind's raw potential. In a world where only those who adapt quickly, innovate, and think differently can thrive, mastering confusion becomes the greatest competitive advantage there is. That is the real science, and the secret to turning chaos into genius. The transformation was brutal. In just 30 days, I started seeing patterns no one else could detect. At first, it was just a whisper at the back of my mind, like a coded message. But soon it became a roar. I saw recurring structures where others saw only noise, found hidden connections between subjects that had always seemed unrelated. Problems that had once paralyzed me were now just riddles waiting to be solved. Nothing had become easier, I had been forged to face complexity. I saw the pieces of the game with a new perspective. Even when faced with new questions, I felt the confidence of someone who has already conquered their own chaos. My reading skyrocketed. Before, I would read and forget, now I absorbed every word as if I were engraving a secret map inside myself. Ideas were no longer isolated blocks, they formed a living web, a system of automatic understanding. My working memory expanded. I could hold conflicting ideas in my mind without panicking, and instead of avoiding confusion, I used it as fuel to discover more. After 60 days, I walked back into those meeting rooms that had once crushed me. The difference was profound. Now, I didn't just participate, I generated insights that made even the untouchables stop to listen, rethink, and re-examine their own certainties. I went from intimidated to respected. I didn't repeat talking points, I challenged, constructed, and expanded the debate, and everyone could feel it. If you've listened this far, it's because you're part of that select circle, where few have the courage to enter. So, show your presence in the comments, write "The circle protects me" if you truly want to stay in this chain of mental evolution. Like the video, share it, and help the circle grow, because a mind protected by confusion is an unbeatable mind. I began to see secret bridges between ideas that most people never notice. A discussion about psychology revealed to me hidden business strategies. An obscure philosophy lesson radically changed how I reacted to crises in relationships. My mind developed the gift of cross-pollination. My problem-solving speed skyrocketed. Tasks that used to take me hours were now solved in minutes. I aimed straight at the heart of the challenge, ignoring illusions and slicing through distractions like a sharp blade. After 90 days on this path reserved for the relentless, I revisited those IQ tests, 142, 138, 145. The numbers didn't just rise, they exploded. But it wasn't just about the score, it was the feeling. My brain wasn't just faster, it was lethal, flexible, ruthless, adaptable. The fear of confusion no longer cornered me. I welcomed it as the guardian of the next level, the secret portal to greater powers. I was no longer the same, I had become someone else. Attention, there is no room for the weak here. Only those willing to cross the fire of confusion make it to the end. Weeks 1 to 2, Building the Fortress. Choose a topic that challenges you but also fascinates you. It's rare to find strength in monotony. Set aside 30 minutes daily to tackle material perhaps 20% beyond your comfort zone. It's at that edge, where your mind screams to give up, that mutation begins. When discomfort hits, smile. It's your brain breaking so it can rebuild itself. Write down at least 5 questions per session. Questions are the real keys to the arsenal of deep understanding. Weeks 3 to 4, The Pattern Hunter. Now, start hunting for connections. Ask, what does this resemble within what I already master? Transfer concepts between disciplines, build your own mind maps or diagrams, even if they're just rough sketches. The mind of the strong is able to see beyond the obvious, finding links where the weak see only walls. Weeks 5 to 8, Full Strength. Now it's for Titans. Increase the density, go for even more obscure topics, problems you never thought you'd face, digging down to the core. Attack every obstacle from multiple angles. Demand a new repertoire from yourself. How would another field of knowledge explain this? And test your mind by teaching what you're learning. Teaching, even if only to yourself, is the final verdict. It separates the aspirant from the true master. Weeks 9 to 12, Integration and Mastery. Put yourself to the test. This is where true transformation begins to manifest. Stop studying just to accumulate knowledge. Throw your learning into real challenges, tests that show no mercy to the distracted. Observe, each small epiphany is like a secret rune being added, until they create leaps of understanding impossible for ordinary minds. Soon, you'll notice a rare phenomenon, your own mind, almost obsessively, seeking out productive confusion. You'll come to crave challenges, because deep down you'll know that only within them lies the power of evolution. But beware, few survive the crossing. Choosing the wrong abyss, don't sacrifice your mind to the impossible. Seek out the precise challenge, 20% beyond your current level, never 200%. Stretch your framework, but don't let it collapse. The craving for instant answers, confusion is the ritual, not the enemy. Allow your mind to struggle. The fire of understanding is born only from resistance to chaos. Running when discomfort sets in, it's exactly at the peak of pain that transmutation occurs. Don't retreat. It's at this moment that the mind of the strong shatters the chains of the former self. Trying to add without connecting, all intellectual magic happens on the bridge between the new and the old. Connections aren't a luxury, they are the very spell that awakens deep understanding. Understand this once and for all, it is the mind that sculpts who you are. Not the body, not the past, but your ability to create roads where there was only fog before. You are dealing with inner forces as ancient as the forgotten gods. Allow yourself to cross through the mist. When your mind complains and the discomfort threatens to consume you, smile, that is the code of those who have transcended. This is the circle of the transformed, of those who know that the mind is the greatest key to any metamorphosis of being. This is when the magic happens. Knowledge without integration is just idle curiosity. The cumulative effect. Every time you conquer confusion, your entire brain evolves. It's like compound interest for your mind. Problems that once paralyzed you in the first month become mere warm-ups by the third month. That's how I tripled my intelligence, not just my IQ score, but the very way I think, learn, and create. Try it for just 7 days. Choose a topic that challenges you. Dedicate 30 minutes tomorrow morning to this subject. Don't rush to understand. Embrace the confusion, this is your brain evolving. Track your progress. Watch your mind evolve. If you're tired of being average, subscribe to the channel. I'm documenting every mental hack I discover on this journey from ordinary to unstoppable. Comment below, what subject will you choose for your first deliberate confusion experiment? Your intelligence is not fixed. Your potential is limitless. The only question left is, are you ready to embrace confusion? That's where the magic happens. Knowledge without integration is just scattered curiosity. It doesn't transform, it doesn't transcend. The real effect is cumulative. Every time you cross the veil of confusion, your whole brain rises. It's like compound interest, not for money, but for the expansion of your being. Those dilemmas that imprisoned you at first become just a warm-up in the next stage. That's how I shattered the limits of my intelligence. I didn't just change numbers on a test, I deeply altered the way I think, learn, and see the world. The challenge is on. Give yourself just 7 days, choose a topic that threatens you from the edges of your comfort zone. Tomorrow, set aside 30 minutes to dive in, without hurry. Feel the confusion, it's the signal of your active evolution. Watch your progress, examine the changes. Test the impossible. Now, look inside yourself. What will you choose for your first radical experiment? Which topic will you challenge to open portals of knowledge that few dare explore? When was the last time you truly felt your mind grow? Are you tired of mediocrity? Ready to sabotage common programming? Subscribe to the channel now, only then can the circle of the universal mind accompany and witness your growth. Leave a comment. What will be your first deliberate confusion experiment? Show that you're ready to take the next step. Your potential is as infinite as your mind dares to expand. The only question that remains, are you truly ready to embrace confusion? The circle is watching.